This is the all-new Mercedes A-Class, the third generation of the compact car that made its debut at the 1997 Frankfurt Motor Show. So what's new about it? Well, everything. It's traded in its one-box design now for a two-box and altogether sportier proposition. The interior has also gone up in quality in terms of materials and design details. The new A-Class aims to go head-to-head with the BMW 1 Series, the Audi A3, and the best-selling Volkswagen Golf.
Okay, so the first thing you notice about the new A-Class is that we've got radically new proportions to the car. That means we've gone away from this one-box design, the previous generation of car, to a two-box design. So we've got a much more pronounced bonnet to the car. So you've got this two-box shape. The roof is considerably lower than it was before. So the proportions in general are a lot more sporty. And when you look at the car in the side view, you see that the window opening, the greenhouse of the car, has also got very small. We've taken the belt line of the car much higher to give the car strength and solidity and create these much more expressive, sporty proportions to the vehicle. What we've also done is try to make this point here, the spoiler, the rear of the roof, as low as possible and keep the window line relatively high, so we've got this small rear visor to the car and a really strong shoulder, and this helps to create from the rear a very strong stance, and that's what you can see from there at the moment, is how well the car sits from the rear view, and that was an essential part of the design of the new A-Class. In fact, that's one of my favourite areas of the car, this area here where you're really expressive and it really sits the car very well on the road. So on the side of the car, we've basically tried to be as expressive as possible, so treat the surfaces as three-dimensionally and as creatively as possible. We've gone as far in and as far out as we can. We've created positive, concave and convex surfaces and really treated the car as a sculpture, essentially as a piece of artwork, as a three-dimensional sculpture. The challenge is not only to create a sculpture, but to then tie that together with structured lines to give the car a certain tension. So what you see in the side of the car is you've got this line running from the front headlight all the way to the rear, or just before the rear wheel arch. And that's known internally as the dropping line. That's what we are introducing on our next generation of Mercedes cars. That's what you can see on the road now, also with the new A-Class. And that's an important Mercedes line. That's important Mercedes DNA. So that's a line which we basically have on all our cars. And then in combination with this dropping line, we've got this swinging line from the sill, and that's there to also balance this line, which can be quite elegant on its own, but because of the sporty, compact nature of the car, we have this line here which balances it, tips the car in the other direction, so the car really sits forward. So these lines help to structure the actual body surfacing of the car.
Hello, my name is Jan Kaul. I work as a designer for Mercedes-Benz, and I've been responsible for the interior design of the new A-Class. When you open the door and enter the interior, the first thing you notice is that the overall quality of the interior is something that you wouldn't expect from a car in this segment, the compact car segment. For example, stitches on armrests and a lot of attention to detail like the vents. But in general, the approach of the interior design was that less is more. That means we've, like I've already mentioned, focused on details, but also tried to avoid decorative non-functional elements. So you will not find any traditional wooden trim pieces or similar decorative elements. But everything is very functional, like in a sports car, for example. The architecture of the interior, of the dashboard, is separated in two elements. You've got the wing-shaped upper element, which is something that you've already seen in our sports cars like SLS, SLK and the new SL. So we have the floating screen here, which obviously was a little bit inspired by Apple product design. The idea behind it is that you have flat screens in your living room now floating in front of the wall, and you won't have any big old TV screens that are integrated in cupboards anymore. And the big advantage of this kind of design is that you are completely free with the geometry, because the screen is really just floating in front of it, and that gave us a lot more freedom for the design, and also you didn't really have to go back to this integrated kind of look. It's not a touchscreen, but ergonomically it is actually much better to navigate through the menus with the central command unit rather than having the touchscreen which doesn't have this tactile feedback. The other elements, like the vents, are a little bit for us like jewelry in a really calm environment, and are designed with a lot of attention to detail. Like you see, for example, this structure here. We took inspiration from expensive, really nicely designed watches. The surfaces, the materials are real galvanized with this cool touch, real metal feel. So is the steering wheel, very sporty steering wheel, which was inspired by the steering wheels from our sports cars, with the flat bottom here, and also the instrument cluster with the tubes, very similar to our sports cars. The same kind of attention to detail and quality you'll find in the doors, for example, here with the armrest and stitches, and also another galvanized element here, and the sports seats. The seat itself, for me personally, is one of the highlights in the interior. Also something why I'd say you wouldn't find that in the compact car segment anywhere else. What I really like is this integrated headrest with the cutout here that features ambient light, and also the combination of materials. So you have the leather with the contrast stitches, and then the Alcantara with the piping, which gives it a very expensive but yet sporty kind of look.
It's no question the new A-Class is a more dynamic offering than its predecessor. Its sportier exterior design and premium detailing in the interior are definitely a big step forward for the brand. So will the new A-Class prove to be a viable competitor to the BMW 1 Series and Audi A3? Well, that remains to be seen. Its sportier design and premium detailing will certainly appeal to the younger demographic that Mercedes is targeting. But we can't help but feel it's lost some of the unique appeal of the 1997 original.